welcome to this new series, What Is? This is going to be a series where I take a look at a game that is too great in scope and size for me to make a proper series on, at least for the time being. But games that are nonetheless very interesting and that I find that maybe you'd like to take a look at yourself, or maybe not. Anyway, I will present them and talk a little bit about them and what they're like. First up is this game, Kenshi. So what is Kenshi? Well, Kenshi is a role-playing game, and it is set in a post-apocalyptic world, where once you had a great empire that spanned all of the land, but now that is gone and fallen, and what you have is new civilizations that have sprung up in its place. And they are less technologically advanced than the old empire, but they are quite diverse. For instance, you have the Holy Nation over here, you have the United Cities down in the south here and to the east, you have the Czech, and I'm actually in a Czech town or city right now in Squin, where I own a house, and over here is my own outpost, which we'll get to in a bit. There are also a lot of other different factions that you can relate to in different ways. You can decide to just ignore them, you can wage war against them, or you can decide to ally yourself to them. I am allied to the Holy Nation in this playthrough. The land itself is quite inhospitable to human life. For instance, in Venji here you have giant beams of light that scorch the land. In the Deadlands you have acid rain falling, which will basically melt your skin if you stay there for any period of time. Same in Iron Valleys. You have deserts, and yeah, you have only a few areas that are really fertile and good for growing crops and so on. So that's quite a challenge to survive in that. As I said, it is a RPG, a role-playing game, but in addition you also have quite a bit of squads. You basically start out with one or a few people, and over time you recruit new ones. For instance, I have some people that I have recruited by means of capturing them when they were bandits and came to attack me. And well, I captured them, tied them up, and in time I convinced them to join my group. I have others that I've basically paid to become part of my group. And yeah, so it is a very open-ended game. You can decide what you want to be. You can decide that you want to just explore the land, be an archaeologist, try to find ancient ruins. I've done that, and it's quite interesting, finding ancient ruins and hints of what had happened in the world before. Or you can decide to be a trader. Maybe you want to be a slave trader. The United Cities, for instance, they do a lot of slave trade, so you can make a lot of money from that. You can decide to join the Holy Nation and try to defend humanity against the threat from the skeletons, which are basically robots that were created a long time ago, and in this day and age people simply don't understand them. They think they are unholy creations, at least in the Holy Nation. In the United Cities and elsewhere they are more accepted. You can decide to be simply just a wanderer going through the land and seeing what may be seen. You can decide to hunt and try to get meat to sell on, or well, basically you can do whatever you want, because this is a game without a real end boss. There is nothing telling you that now you've finished the game, you do as much as you want or as little as you want with this game. One thing you can do is build your own outpost, and I was thinking we could take a look at my outpost in a moment. So here we are at my little settlement. I've been working on it for quite some time, and as you can see I built it up extensively. This is the outer defenses, and yeah, I've got harpoon turrets that are basically firing at people who are trying to attack us. And as you can see, there are some people who try to attack us, dust bandits, I believe. When I came here, or when my crew basically arrived here for the first time, there were nothing here. It was nothing more than a mountain with two pathways, one on each side, and a river running nearby. But bit by bit, we've built up a nice little settlement for ourselves. We have different crops here that we have planted and are harvesting. We have a well that are pumping up some water from deep underground, because the world of Kenshi is a world where water is quite valuable. There are only a few areas where you have enough water. Yeah, so I have the main building here where we are making armor and weaponry and so on for our people, and we are generating electricity, which is important for your settlement, through these windmills, and we have some moisture collectors up on the tower here, and this is the outer compound, as I said, and the inner compound. The reason for the outer one is that in this world of Kenshi, quite frequently people will try to take away what's yours, or basically attack you, kill you, and take all your things. For instance, I do have some prisoners here on these poles. They were part of the Flotsam ninjas who tried to attack me. Because as I mentioned, in this playthrough I'm working with the Holy Nation. And, well, they basically didn't like that. So I have them tied up, and hopefully in time they will decide that it's better if they join me, because we could always use more people. And yeah, that's basically the base I've made, and in time I'm trying to make it better and better, make a good life for the people I have here, when they're not out traversing the world and trying to solve basically mysteries of old. So yeah, I'm kind of proud of this, and like I said, it took a long time to build it up, and Kenshi is not a quick game. You will find that it takes time to grind out materials and make your people stronger so they can actually survive out in the wilds. And yeah, it's a bit of a challenge, but if you like challenging games, it might be for you. As I mentioned before, there are different ways to play this game. As you could see, I had quite a large squad with me in my other playthrough, my main playthrough. I also have this playthrough where I basically just have two characters, these two girls here, which I am playing basically as thieves. They are making their way from settlement to settlement, and they are basically stealing anything they find of value and trying to make a living that way. In my other playthrough, I was allied to the Holy Nation, and in this case I'm playing it quite differently, because these two are, well, at least my main character, were born in the United Cities and are allied with them, as you can see by the green marks there on the map. And they are semi-hostile to the Holy Nation, which aren't really that good to women and girls. I actually got a mod installed where you can, over time, change how the Holy Nation view women, and that is quite interesting. I'm looking forward to trying that. But at the moment they are heading towards Stoat over here, where they will try to find something to steal, basically. And in time maybe they will have enough money and possessions to set up their own little settlement, which is the dream of these two. This is the character creator in Kenshi, and you have quite a bit of choices to make your different characters look unique. You can choose different sub-races of human. Greenlander, which is your bog standard human. The cannibal versions, yes, there are cannibals in the game. This is the Scorchlander variant, which is basically very dark-skinned and have eyes that are usually yellow or red, which is quite unusual. And yeah, you can be male or female. You can be human, but you can also be a robot, or a skeleton as they're called in the game. No one knows how to make robots anymore. So these are viewed differently. Some view them as just people, basically. The Holy Nation views them as an abomination and basically kills them on sight. You can decide to be a non-human. This is a southern hive. This is the Shek, which are more or less human-looking, but have these bony outgrowth. Or you can be a hiver, which are often called stickmen in the game. If you choose to be human, you can, well, if you choose to be anything really, you can make a lot of different changes. You can change everything from how they stand when they're not doing anything, to the skin tone, their height, how bulky they are, how muscular. That also changes as you train. What kind of posture they have. Do they stand proud, or do they slouch a bit? How the shoulders are set and so on. You can change the pace. You have different pre-made versions here. You have head size, you can change that, the neck size, basically all that. You can change the hair. I've downloaded some more options. And yeah, you have a lot of different kind of options in this game, which I kind of like. And there are tons and tons and tons of different options to make. You can, or different mods rather. You can download all kinds of mods and make all kinds of changes, which is kind of cool. And what kind of start you have? Well, that depends on what you want. You can start from everything from being a down and out slave to being a minor noble, or just a military person, or basically anything like that. It's up to you what kind of changes you want to make. Yeah, as I said, the graphics aren't great, but they do get the job done. So basically that's it for Kenshi. It is a very interesting game. It is a game that more than any other deserves the term sandbox, and it's a game that you can play any way you want. But it is a game with some drawbacks. It does not always stay as stable as you might want. It can crash, you will probably notice that, but you do have a lot of mods, you can play it your way. The graphics aren't great, as I've mentioned several times, but they do get the job done, and they kind of fit the theme of this world, which is basically a rust land. So yeah, at some point I might actually make a series on this, but I don't think that will be for a while yet, because it's going to be quite a long and involved series if so. I hope you've enjoyed this little look at Kenshi, and Kenshi is available on Steam for those of you who might want to pick it up. You might even want to wait for a sale if you want to. But yeah, the developers have been quite good. There are lots of mods for just about anything you want. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you in another. Bye bye!